Banishers: Ghosts of New Eden is a 2024 action role-playing game developed by Don't Nod. Think Poe, but Ghostbusters. You play as Red, who very much resembles King Harold from Vikings, and Antea, who very much resembles Edu from Vikings. Sorry, this is the closest I could get. So, Rick and Michonne, Red and Antea, are urgently solicited to New Eden to deal with a ghost problem, to which one of them kinda becomes a ghost problem. We lay our scene with a racism trigger warning. You know what? I actually respect this. Seriously, racism is a topic many game studios wouldn't touch with a 10-foot whip. I promise you, the jokes only get lighter from here. So light, pre-13th Amendment, these jokes would have worked in the... Nope, not gonna do it. Right, the game. How about that main menu? It is simplistic with minimal UI. It is visually impressive and noticeably artistic, as the cave's opening establishes a focal point. The music here is somber, foreboding, and tragic, with vocals some might call ghostly. You see what I did there? Banishers offers difficulty ranging from a greater focus on narrative up to a greater focus on combat. I chose the option that women choose daily: violence. Now, before some of you get mad, ask yourselves, did the misogynistic joke help you forget the racist one? If so, I'd say this is a net positive. The dialogue is well written and well delivered. It's like if Tubi didn't hire their workforce from a barbershop built between a church and a liquor store. This game, formulaically, if you think that word sounds weird, wait until you have to read it. See what I mean? Anyway, this game formulaically marks interactable surfaces with white and yellow paint. It's like they contracted Jackson Pollock. We were starting off so well, game. Racism trigger warning aside. Sometimes, Banishers pays pretty good attention to detail. I could, for example, mark droplets of rain interacting with Antea's cape, which, by the way, a denim cape is so black of her. Like, come on.
I'm kind of retarded.
Side note, I was going to abbreviate the title about 30 seconds ago and realized Ghosts of New Eden would be shortened to Gone, which is actually pretty clever considering the game's premise. I wonder if that was intentional. Actually, I've also just realized how often I've gone off on tangents, and how consequently my viewers are probably also gone. The visuals are just okay. Banishers looks like a mid-generation PS4 game. Sometimes the terrain looks awesome, other times not so much. The facial animations outside of cutscenes leave more to be desired, and at times come off as artificial. Though, on occasion, during close-ups, the faces look fairly nice. A visual issue would occur occasionally where black blocks would manifest on the lower screen. No, that was not a setup for a joke. Trust me, if there was one to make, I would have. Though the game does explain controls as their particular needs arise, I had already fought a number of low-level enemies before it told me how to block or dodge. I taught myself these techniques and others by visiting the button mapping menu, the way you teach yourself to drive when you practice with your dad instead of your mom. Antea's sprint is fast, and no, this will not turn into a race joke. It's good to see Sarah Paulson took a break from American Horror Story. Sometimes I had to stand idle, waiting for dialogue in progress to conclude before I could engage with an item. It's not egregious like Forspoken, it's just egregious.
Why are you the way that you are?
How are any of you still here? There are a lot of documents to read, especially when investigating Esther's house. I'd prefer the Tomb Raider approach, where notes are read in the author's voice, sparing me some effort, or the Hellblade approach, where I can initiate the voiceover and still hear as I walk around. Combat is just okay. It is stiff and evokes only a minor sense of impact. It isn't as visceral as God of War Ragnarok or Hellblade 2, but intuitively feels like it should be. Lower level enemies are visually and fundamentally uninteresting, and unfortunately, seem to be the bulk of what one would engage with. The way the music ends abruptly after a conversation is awkward, like your toddler calling you by your first name awkward. The occasional invisible wall presents itself, like preventing the player from venturing into the ocean. It's rare, but when it happens, it's just weird. Don't Nod could have been more creative with restricting traversal. For example, using an inanimate object like a large log or Joy Behar. So, to end this analysis, and as a result, your suffering, let's summarize. Banishers does something truly admirable by addressing a sensitive social matter and, at least during the course of my 3-hour playthrough, not propagandizing it. The game has good art direction, as made evident by the framing of the main menu, the character designs minus most enemies, and level design, but the visuals, generally speaking, are moderate to say the least. Banishers offers players a variety of difficulty options, which broadens the game's accessibility. The premise is good, and the dialogue is well written and well delivered. I could easily see this as a Netflix series that's awesome, but inevitably gets canceled after 2 seasons. The combat is serviceable, but I'd have liked for attacks to bear more weight. Banishers has a lot of good nuggets, but sometimes they're served in a McDonald's box.